Houston's 5 scariest legends, the ghost beneath the bayou, Houston at night. Thunder rolls over the skyline, and the reflection of the city flickers across the bayou. When the fog drifts in and the streets empty, Houston's modern lights go silent, and 5 dark legends begin to whisper again. Tonight, we'll enter the city's haunted library, the hospital, built on a forgotten graveyard, the war-scarred bridge where ghosts still tap on passing cars, the restaurant where a bride and groom never left, and the river where La Llorona still cries for her lost children. Turn off the lights. Put on your headphones. Let's walk through the 5 scariest legends of Houston, Texas. First episode, the Julia Idison Library, the violin and the dog's claws. It's past 10 o'clock in downtown Houston. The marble halls of the Julia Idison Library echo faintly with the sound of a violin, soft trembling notes rising from the basement. A night guard pauses. Along the hallway, he hears another sound, tap, 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 like claws clicking on stone. In the 1930s, the building's caretaker, Jacob Frank Kramer, lived in the basement with his loyal dog, Petey. He was known for his violin played late into the night. When he died in the library, the music didn't stop. Decades later, employees still reported hearing an unseen musician tuning his strings and the sound of a dog pacing behind him. Once, as a worker locked up for the night, a single note echoed through the reading room, long and lonely, followed by that same tap, tap, tap of claws against marble. "Still on night duty, Jacob," someone whispered. The air turned cold, and the violin hummed one last sorrowful chord before fading into silence. Second episode, Jefferson Davis Hospital, the white building over the dead. On the north edge of downtown stands a pale brick structure with arched windows, quiet, abandoned, unsettling. This was once Jefferson Davis Hospital, built in 1924, but beneath its foundation lies something far older. Houston's first city cemetery, where Confederate soldiers, freed slaves, and nameless children were buried. When construction began, many graves were never moved. They simply poured the concrete over them. For decades, doctors and nurses spoke of lights that wouldn't stay off, footsteps that circled empty halls, and the sound of a wheelchair rolling when no one was there. By the 1990s, the hospital was sealed and left to rot. Peeling paint, cracked glass, the smell of rust and age. Explorers described whispers, cold air that smelled faintly of earth, and windows that fogged from the inside, as if something were breathing behind them. In 2000, it was restored and renamed the Elder Street Artists' Lofts. Painters and sculptors moved in, but so did the past. One tenant swore that late at night, his reflection in the window wasn't alone. A man in a nurse's uniform stood just over his shoulder. He turned. Only the empty hallway stared back. Locals say the building sits in peace now, a peace that hums like soil still shifting beneath the floorboards. Third episode, Patterson Road, the tapping soldiers of Bear Creek. Drive west toward Bear Creek Park, and you'll find a narrow, unmarked bridge crossing Langham Creek. At night, if you stop your car, switch off the lights, and wait, you'll hear it. Tap, tap, tap. Locals call them the Civil War soldiers who died nearby. They're said to knock on car doors, checking if anyone still lives. One couple tested the legend. They wiped their rear window clean, parked, and waited 3 minutes. When they turned the lights back on, tiny handprints covered the glass small like a child's. Another driver reported seeing a gray coat reflected in his mirror, buttons glinting under the moon. When he blinked, it was gone. But the metallic clink of those buttons echoed in the air. Maybe it's wind, maybe it's water beneath the bridge, or maybe the fallen still patrol, searching every traveler who stops too long. Fourth episode, the Spaghetti Warehouse, the Groom and the Bride. At 901 Commerce Street, a century-old pharmaceutical warehouse became a cozy Italian restaurant, until the customers started whispering. Long ago, a young pharmacist died in a freak accident, falling down an elevator shaft. His grieving wife searched the building for him day after day, and soon died of heartbreak. Since then, workers heard footsteps pacing the empty upper floor, tables sliding on their own, and unseen hands brushing their shoulders. One night, a cleaner saw a man in old-fashioned suspenders, standing by the elevator gate. When she looked again, he was gone, but the gate rattled as if someone had stepped inside. During Hurricane Harvey, floodwater rose through the basement, and the restaurant never reopened. Now, passers-by say a silhouette sometimes appears at the second-floor window. Sometimes a man, sometimes a woman in white. People argue which one it is, but everyone agrees they stand together. Fifth episode, Buffalo Bayou, the modern La Llorona. Every Mexican child knows her name, La Llorona, the weeping woman. She drowned her children, then herself, and now wanders riversides crying, "Ay, mis hijos, my children." But in 1986, Houston saw that story come alive. A desperate woman threw her 7 children into Buffalo Bayou. 2 never came back. She told police she wanted to save them from a cruel world and that she was La Llorona. Since that night, patrol officers and joggers have reported strange sights near the water. A white sleeve gliding along the bank, ripples moving against the current, and a woman's voice calling softly in Spanish. Once a night guard shone his flashlight across the river. Nothing, but on the bridge behind him, 2 wet footprints led away from the water. Small, bare, and still dripping. Houston is a city of motion freeways, lights, noise. But at night, beneath that hum, the old stories breathe. In the library, a violin still trembles. In the hospital, the ground remembers who lies below. On Patterson Road, ghostly fingers test every traveler's courage. In the warehouse, 2 lovers keep their endless vigil. And along the bayou, a mother still calls for her children. The city keeps building higher, but the past keeps reaching up through the cracks. So, if you ever hear a whisper near the water's edge, don't answer. Houston is already listening.